Afternoon. Afternoon, everybody. Making sure I'm coming through okay. Afternoon, everybody. Yeah. Hope everybody's well. Had a good weekend. Alan, how you doing? Ashwin, Cariappa, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Before I go into the index, index and markets, etc., I want to talk about this USD check because for me, I did talk about it a little bit on Friday, but I kind of want to go into it a bit more because the likelihood is here that I'm doubling up on this position. So I've already got this daily position on this cup with handle, steady state retest, and a bullish engulfer here on high volume. So this looks good on the daily, right? The price action looks nice. We've had a rejection here 2 days ago of that 200. 20 period is about to cross over. You know, my favorite kind of channel breaks are if we have a channel like this and we break through that channel and kind of a bit of a rangy price action before moving to the upside. Right, that's kind of my favorite context for channel breaks or a steady state retest break, let's say that. And we're kind of getting that here. So I like it. You know, I like it. I like the fact that the stock's potentially having a little wobble now recently, or potentially having a corrective now after the massive push they've had the past 4 or 5 days. Now, the reason why I don't mind thinking about, or I will double up on this as long as it breaks through this area here, these highs, is because of that context. Okay, so within that steady state retest on the daily chart, we've got my favorite ABC here. So we've got A, B, C. And if you know me, you'll know my favorite breaks is this break of B wave, as we discussed on Friday. So if I kind of went into that ABC corrective on Friday, so if you didn't see that, go watch that kind of previous stream. Anyway, since then, at B wave, we've got our nice cup with handle followed by a ABC. So our handle involves an ABC here, as well as, if I zoom in so you can see it a bit better. There we go, that's a bit better. So we've got our basing cup pattern here. And we've got our A, B, C. Again, great to see as part of this handle. A morning star pattern here. But not only a morning star on increased volume. Push on, tag that area again. Another reload, outside bullish engulfer here on open. 20 period is close by. Again, this for me is really nice. And one of the reasons why, if we break through these highs, as we can see on these lower time frame charts, so if we take the hourly here, right, if we do break through this area, I'll take certainly a buy stop order on that with stops underneath that 4-hour anchor. So if this broken on this 4-hour, I probably couldn't have taken it. The only reason I could have taken it, or the only way I could have taken it, was a stop underneath this 4-hour previous swing. However, now because we've got 2 bars here, we've got 1, 2, and 1, 2 that are higher than this bar here. This makes this a theoretical anchor. So I can put my stop underneath here and take that breakout to the upside. So for me, that's an A-class setup for me. And I put my alert at this section. I know on this 1-hour chart, it's not really the best 1 hour you want to see. However, it has been followed by a good bullish hammer here as well. So looking for price action to tell me it wants to move to the upside. And if we get these hammer breaks, these kind of liquidity zone breaks, that again is a very good sign for me. So I'm not in this trade at the moment, right? I'm waiting for that break. I'm waiting for this price action, right? Hopefully a little bit nicer price action in here to tell me it wants to move to the upside and not, you know, have this hammer take effect and sellers coming into the market and taking control. So USD check, I'm in on that daily chart, but I will take that if we get a break above those highs. And that's where I'm happy to double down on positions because it's kind of a separate trade, isn't it? So this is a separate setup to our longer term play. So that's okay for me to take. 4-hour push to the upside. Looks very nice. Looks very nice. And that trade I talked about on Friday before I went out on this Nikkei 225 was a good one as well. And this is also the importance of moving your stop and taking profits, right? Because if I was looking for 3-4 R out of this, I wouldn't have got it, and you probably would have been stopped out for a full loss. So we got you know, our setup here, very simple setup, head and shoulders, reload back to that 20, push over the resistance area. Resistance now potentially becoming new support with this pullback. You can call this a steady state retest, or you can call this an ABC. Either way, it is valid, right? And very similar to USD check, we have our bullish engulfer as catalyst. Bought that candle, stops underneath the previous swing. Lam, how you doing? Ahmed, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you all had a good weekend. So took that there. And I think TP was hit just about up this area. So very close to where it kind of moved to the downside. So as I said, as I came back on Friday, my stop was moved to this area. And it's a good thing it was, because bang, came back and hit my stop. Got out with it for about 0.6 hours. So not amazing, but a winning trade nonetheless. And move on to the next one. So there you go. The importance, I feel, certainly in this market where it is very choppy, very changey, to take those profits or pay yourself when the market makes it available. So taking profits here, moving our stops up to those swings, and again, just capturing more and more. So even though we didn't get massive ones, okay, that's fine, because, you know, maybe every 2 months, maybe every 3 months, one of those big ones will come along that just run and run and run and run and get you your plus 10% trade on that one trade. And that's what I'm looking for. You know, in between that, you know, I live probably between the 0.5 and the 1.5. You know, probably a little bit less over the past 2 months because of the way the market is. But normally you'd expect that per winning trade. So that was a nice one. I mean, it was a good context and a nice trade. So stop the rut and a nice little winner. Now the index. Where's the index? Here. Now you know how I feel on the index. You know I didn't want this to happen. But it has happened. We have pushed through. We have pushed through into all-time highs. Okay, this 4-hour chart, obviously, after this massive push, for me, needs a slight corrective. Okay, we're kind of getting the retest of all-time highs now, which could be a decent 4-hour hammer here on a bit of volume, which could be our retest. That could be the market could be saying, okay, we're happy with this now, and we push on after this 4-hour. It does close in a little bit of time, so again, wait for that closure before you can kind of say that. The daily looks good. The daily, from this price action, doesn't really need a pullback, so we could see the stocks push. And I don't mind that. You know, I don't mind that as long as it correlates to momentum, to follow through, and to actual trend, right? So I don't mind risk on. I've still got a bit neutral here because it is a Monday, and possibly we do need a slight pullback. But I don't mind stocks pushing as long as we get that correlation to weak yen, weak Swiss, strong Aussie, strong Kiwi, strong CAD, and breaks and actual trends. So that's what I want, and that's what I'm looking for. But certainly, you know, the fact of the matter is we've broken through all-time highs, but it is a Monday, so we might be in retest phase tonight or today. Just watch what happens after this candle closes and determine your risk sentiment. Tian, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. So determine your risk sentiment after that hammer, I would say. But if I'm being completely honest with you all, I didn't want that to happen, but it has happened, and I'll kind of play it that way. So let's see. Dollar is looking a little bit bearish right now. I was looking at it on this 4-hour thinking this is okay, you know, possibly an AB shallow C, but rejection of that resistance area on a little bit of volume. And this kind of, again, the follow through in this dollar, the buyers in this dollar aren't really taking control at the moment. Possibly we have this valid trend line, and we have this resistance to price roughly around the same area. So maybe we end up coming back here and then pushing on, as we've done in the past 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So that's what I probably think my bias is for the dollar intraday. We kind of come down to this area, see how price action is at this area, and we push on. You know, I do still think on the daily we get up there. The daily still looks fine off this big hammer. We are in an uptrend, and I do think that continues. But if we get a break below, on account of that US dollar weakness. If the stocks decide to push, as we've seen post-COVID, stocks push, US dollar weak, you know, you could see a decent weakening off of the dollar today. I just think it's got a little bit to go. I'm not trading this DXY, but that is just my bias. I think we get to here, and any selling pressure into that dollar has been bought into, right? Time and time again, and we're still in an uptrend. Until that changes, you know, buying dollar dips still makes sense to me. You know, still makes sense to me. So yeah, just watch that dollar roughly around that area and see what happens. We have got that 100, again, 100 underneath price action. Bit of a bearish bar here. So we can see how it's a little bit, you know, mixed signals between those lower time frames and those higher time frames. But buying dollar still for me makes sense. Okay, pound Aussie. Pound Aussie is kind of gone a little bit. I didn't get this on the 4 hour, but if you had taken this on the 4 hour, it wouldn't have been a bad setup. You know, you've got your cut with handle, bar here for a reload, 20 period close by. You know, I wouldn't have minded taking that as a breakout trade. I just personally wanted this on the 1 hour chart. We had a V reversal here, and I'm pushing on. I think DXY have one more. Yeah, I agree, Ahmed. I think it has a little bit more to go, and then I think it's a decision time. You know, roughly around that area I've been putting for quite some time. I think we get to it. I would be surprised if we didn't, put it that way. So I still think buying the dollar makes sense. Anyway, this pound Aussie, I've been trying to get into on this for quite some time, but it looks as if this is pushing on now. So I don't really see a retest happening. It's not a bad setup, you know, not a bad setup, but obviously for me, I don't take breakouts on anything less than the 4 hour, and I think that pound Aussie is probably gone. I don't know if anybody's... Ahmed, are you still in that trade? Or if somebody else was asking me about pound Aussie last week. I still like that. I like that to the upside, certainly as a longer term play as well. Looks great on the daily. Nice healthy trend. Look at that. That's a nice healthy trend on the daily. Looks good to the upside. Anyway, for me, I don't think I'm going to get in it, unfortunately. Are you still in the SPX long, Ahmed? Are you still in that trade you were in? Euro yen I was looking at as well. So this euro yen looks good. Context looks good. We've got our cut with handle, obviously, but look at this, head and shoulders here. Nice potential ABC corrective or complex channel prior to this potential break of this resistance area. If we get up now to retest to go long, yeah, I will take that as a counter trend trade. So it is counter trend on this daily, but again, you take it part of the big structure. Could be a channel here and push on. Anyway, euro yen on that 1 hour chart, 30-minute chart looks good. I like that. Oh, Lam, it was you. Yeah, sorry. Are you in? Are you in that long? I can't remember if, I think you were talking about a fake out. I'm not sure if you actually got into it long or you're still into it long, but if you are, then yeah, it looks pretty good now. I think we talked about that on Friday, right? On that pound Aussie, just be wary of this coming back up. We were here, right? I think we were here on pound Aussie at this point in time. And it did kind of do what we potentially thought it might. So yeah, that looks nice to the upside. Certainly does. Do you use fundamentals or it's fine to stick only to price action? So for me, Matanga, I am purely a price action trader. I don't use fundamentals. I look at them. Obviously, we've got the Fed coming up on Wednesday. I won't take positions like maybe 15 minutes before, 15 or 30 minutes after either. So about 15, half an hour before or anything like that before the news events. The reason why I'm purely a technical trader is, you know, I did do a lot of fundamental analysis when I was... Parsa, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. No worries. I did do a lot of fundamental analysis when I was kind of early on, but I found that a lot of the times the market wouldn't go with what you expect it to go. So I'm more interested in now the market's reaction to the news rather than the news itself. Because how often have we seen, you know, decent data coming out that theoretically should push a currency up or strengthen a currency pair, and it does the exact opposite. You know, so for me, in my mind, again, this depends on the type of trader you are, but for me, in my mind, like, I think it's simpler looking at the candlesticks. You know, it clears me out. I don't have any fundamental bias. I'm just purely looking at price action. And for me, my trading got better after I did that. So, you know, I'm not saying fundamentals are bad at all. There's people that use them all the time, great traders that use them all the time. I'm just personally not one of them. And you just gotta think about what you like and what kind of resonates with you. If you like to do that, then fine. But for me, yeah, I think I get more success using price action and just using the technicals, to be honest, because, you know, technical analysis is kind of based on everything that is known in the market is reflected in current price. So that for me makes sense to me. So I'm like, okay, there's a lot of smarter people out there that know a lot more than me, and that's where price is. What about sentiment? So risk sentiment. Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, probably you've got me a bit there, Matanga. So I do like the risk set. Okay, do you know what? Fair enough, Matanga. You've kind of got me a bit there. I do take my risk sentiment, but maybe it's not. I wouldn't take risk sentiment as, you know, okay, it's risk on, so I'm going to buy the Aussie yen, right? Or it's risk off, so I'm going to sell the Kiwi dollar or the Kiwi Swiss. I get it, and I use it as kind of confluence. So if I do have a setup, for example, you know, now potentially in this euro yen pair, it gives me a bit more confidence in it because stocks are pushing up, right? You've got to say there's an all-time highs, so it's risk on. So even though, okay, yeah, you can say maybe that's partly fundamental bias, but I get my risk sentiment through technical analysis and through price action, right? So not from fundamental data releases, etc. So yeah, that's what I do. You can make of that as what you may, but yeah, I mainly use price action. Anyway, euro yen, Kiwi Swiss. Kiwi Swiss here is still kind of setting up. We had our head and shoulders. This was a bit more of a bigger channel or movement upwards that I would have liked. But if we get something similar to this in New Zealand Swiss, I would consider taking it. I just don't think we will now. I think if it had moved down at this point in time, then it would have looked a lot better. So, you know, for me, possibly we're just getting a pullback from this mode, this move now for continuation to the upside. So New Zealand Swiss is potential. I'll keep it on the watch list, but, you know, the daily looks bearish. Crossed over that 20 and 200, but I'll keep it on because it might be an end of the week trade. Nothing that I think will set up, but let's see. And US 30s, the Dow. The Dow as well, similar to the SPX, obviously, but this move needs to be digested. We've got our V reversal, our quite significant V reversal, and I need a bigger pullback than this. You know, I wouldn't take this breakout to the upside, you know, more often than not, or a lot of the times. When you take these types of breaks that are just not ready for me, you know, that's not really healthy for me. They're sometimes liable for possibly not a massive snapback, but certainly a movement downwards before they continue, which might take you out. So for me, the Dow needs a bit of a deeper correction, maybe around that 40-60, push up, something like this to get me into the upside. So the US 30 I kind of like. Looks a lot better than the SPX. And looking at this area up here for a breakout to the upside. I think it'll get there. It just depends if I'm in it or not on the US 30. And finally, I've got the Swiss yen. I've got the Swiss yen here on the last one on my watch list, which I like. You know, I like this. Daily is good. Again, big bullish engulfer crossing that 20 on the daily. We are in this slight range here, but it's okay as long as I get a setup. We've got our cut with handle, our V reversal, a nice reload here, and again, we're getting our channel or accumulation prior to a potential break. Now, the only issue I have with this is I can't take it yet because of this 200. So I would actually prefer if this holds on a little bit. so that that break is above that 200, because obviously this 200 is a big area of dynamic resistance, and I don't want to get caught in, you know, taking this break now and then you kind of fail off that 200 and just go down. I've seen that too much to be able to take that. So I would need that a little bit more, you know, a bit more accumulation here, possibly a complex to take that to the upside, as long as that 200 will be below price action when I do take that breakout on the Swiss yen. So yeah, I mean, apart from that, it looks good. Like I said, USD check, I really do like. I know price action is coming a little bit down now, but you know, this 4 hour, specifically the 4 hour time frame, looks really good, and I will take that break. I've put my alert there, so there's a little tip for you. If you're not at the charts, put your little alert there, so if price action does come up, you get notified. I'm still in pound New Zealand, not on this challenge account, but on my actual account, I'm still in this pound New Zealand. Been in this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days now. Stop is roughly around here, so I was getting close to get taken out. But this is starting to look good now. This is starting to look good. My entry is about here, so I'm still offside a bit. But, you know, if we can close above this area, that would be good for pound New Zealand long. Like I said, I've said for a while, I like pound longs. I don't know whether that is a bias in my head, but I just like pound longs. And I do think this comes back up. So that's my opinion. If there's anything you want me to look at, let me know. But I don't think I've got anything else on my watch list for today. Remember, it is a Monday. Mondays are sometimes quiet, setting up for the week ahead. We do have the interest rate decision on Wednesday, so that will be interesting. I'll check what time that is actually, because maybe I just do it live on Wednesday. No, it's not. It's at 10 o'clock, so it's too long. Yeah, I thought it was too late. So yeah, the Fed's on Wednesday. You could see rangy price action in the stocks until then, waiting for that news to come out. But yeah, Mondays. So, all right, guys, if there's nothing there, I will love you and leave you. I am trying to edit a video on a kind of day in the life, a bit more of a fun video. Trying to do that this week. And also, the second winner of the 50 grand FTMO will be announced on Friday if you are members of RTFX. If not, links are down below. So that is quite exciting. But if not, remember, trade safe. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. Thanks, guys. Peace.